Call Haloim Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakudash, Barakatham. Shalom, this is your fellow servant Tazawar from the GMS Orlando camp here with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone whom rule well, and from whom we learn this truth. Shalom to you, Akim, who are not in GMS, but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. To you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you speckled birds, who are scattered among the nations, looking like those nations. To the 144,000 elect men, and the rest of the hopeful elect, to you I say, Shalom. All right. This is part 2 to a video I just did an upload. I decided to entitle it "Watch Out for These Charlatans." Right? Watch out for these charlatans. A charlatan is somebody who how can I say, who profess to have a certain skill set or knowledge base that they really don't got, that they really don't have, and they make money off of it, yo. Right? They shysters. Okay? Pooh shysty ass no. They shysters though. But a charlatan is a con man, man. He's a con man. All right? So, you can watch part 1. You know, it was a clip of Geno Jennings I had played. This guy was going into about, you know, he don't eat pork or beef, but y'all can eat it because God said, you know, God changed and all of this. So we addressed that in the first video. I'm not going to replay that clip in this video because I just want to hit the other scriptures that I had. Okay. So what I will do though is I'm gonna do a real quick overview of the scriptures that we pulled. Okay, in the first video, I'm gonna do a quick overview of those scriptures, and then we're gonna pick up where we left off. Yahweh Ratazah. All right. So in the first video, the first lesson, or part 1, I'll say, we did Malachi 3 and 6 and 7. All right. For I am the Lord, Yahweh, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers are ye gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. All right. But ye said, wherein shall we return? So I hit that, showing that the Lord Yahweh does not change. Right. And from there, we hit Hebrews 3 and 7. 3 and 8 was the point. Right. Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, the same yesterday and today and forever. Right. And then I read down, giving some commentary on verses 10 through like 12. Okay. Yeah. Because it mentions 9 through 12, really. Yeah, I gave commentary on verses 9 through 12 because it mentioned meat up here. All right, so you can go back and listen to the breakdown of those verses. All right. I went into the word altar there, altar. All right, place of sacrifice, which goes into the word in the Hebrew is the word matazaba, right? Matazaba, right? And then when you go into the root of that is zabah or zabak, right, which means sacrifice. That's the word altar. So it's the same meaning in the Greek and in the Hebrew. Okay, the Greek word is like, I can't even say that word. Do say something stereos, whatever, right? But anyway, when you go into that, it gave the understanding of that, and also explaining that the altar in verse 10 that's spoken about is a spiritual altar. All right, and you have to understand the customs that we have as a people. Okay, as far as like Passover, okay, Day of Atonement is another day of sacrificial, or like sacrifice for sins, but you sacrifice during the Day of Atonement by denying thy oneself. So you don't eat on those on the Day of Atonement. All right, you afflict yourself, you afflict your soul. But Passover, all right, is a holy day, a high holy day that we keep, where we have a sacrifice, right? Obviously, we don't sacrifice now, okay, because Yahweh Shai is our Passover lamb, and I spoke on that in the first part, all right, in the first video. But culturally, when we did Passover after we came out of Egypt, there was the Passover lamb was the sacrificial lamb, and we actually ate of that meat. We ate of that sacrifice, okay. And there was still an altar there, because again, altar is a place where you sacrifice or do a kill, okay. So now that you have the basic overview and understanding of those two things, I went to Matthew the 5th chapter, right? And again, because Yahweh Shai is our Passover lamb, right? He's our sacrifice. He laid his life down for us. So I went to Matthew 5 and I 17 through like 20. Yeah, 17 through 20. All right, we read those. And those are pretty self-explanatory. All right. If you need some understanding on that, again, go back and listen to the part 1. Okay, you can go back and listen to part 1 about how I'll read 17 real quick, because that's the point. All right. Matthew 5 and 17, it says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." Right? I'll do 18 too. "For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle," all right, that's like one pen stroke, all right, a jot, "shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled." Okay? And again, we can look up and see the heavens, we can see the sky, we can see the luminaries, right? The stars, the moon, the sun, all right? We're standing on earth, and Yahweh Shai, whom you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, his proper name, has not returned to take the kingdom, to establish the kingdom. All right, he has not returned to take the reign from these heathen nations and establish his kingdom. So we still teach the law, because it's by the law that we know sin. Okay, understand that. Now, are we justified by the law? No, we are not justified by the law. But you absolutely have to know that you cannot lay with your neighbor's wife. You absolutely have to know that you can't kill. You cannot murder, right? You cannot kill without cause. You cannot steal, right? You cannot bear false witness against your neighbor. All these things thou shalt not do. We are not to do these things. Now, clearly you can. People do these things. They act these things out in the flesh, but there is a consequence for those actions. Okay. So we establish, right, the law. We're going to get that too. Okay. So now that that's now that that's done, let's get you know what? Let me just go ahead and read this again, because this is where I left off. This is Matthew 5:17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, you heard that? He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Okay? So that's where we left off in part 1. Now, to put some more on it, let's go to Matthew the 23rd chapter and verse 13. Yeah, verse 13. Speaking on the scribes and Pharisees. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Right? Hypocrites! For ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. Okay? Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! That's 3 times he said it. All right? For ye can pass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Okay? Meaning, why? Because the hypocrites, they were hypocrites, but the Pharisees, the scriptures talk about them making broad their phylacteries and broadening the borders of their garments, which on the borders of your garments are where our fringes are located. Okay? The fringe with the border of blue, which is a commandment, right? The holy garments. So they enlarged those things to appear more righteous in the sight of men, right? To try to magnify themselves, okay, as being righteous. But in the dark corners, of the alleys and the street corners, they was making deals. Okay, because when people went before them for judgment, they were accepting bribes and payments for to send forth partial judgment or improper judgments, man. Okay, and you see right here it says, "You devour widows' houses." Right? There are things we're supposed to do for widows, man, to take care of them if she lost her husband, if she has lost her hedge, right? Because the man is the hedge of the woman, her covering. So there were things we would do as a nation for widows and for the poor. All right, kind of like, I don't want to say a welfare system, but for lack of a better term, better words, that's what we had, and you don't take those, those tithes and offerings and things like that that people bring, and then you just pocket it, right? You service the nation with that. Of course, this is after the temple duties and all these things are fulfilled, because that's actually what the tithes were for. Because the Levites didn't get uh the same inheritance and things like that. That the priesthood was their job, right? So after, like, you purchase the finest bullock or gold, and you got what you needed for the showbread and all these things. You had something left over. Of course, they had get their little stuff, but there was a system for the widows, man. All right. Anyhow, and then we have other cases where they was trying to trip up Yahushua, right? When they asked him, do you pay taxes? Should we pay our taxes to Caesar, right? They was trying to trip him up with that question where he said, show me the money. Whose face on the coin? Render unto Caesar what's Caesar's, and give Yahweh render unto God what is God's, right? Give Yahweh what belongs to him. Right? So these guys were slippery, just like Jennings. Like Gino, man. All right. But this is words in red. I brought these up because it tells you about the scribes and the Pharisees being hypocrites. Okay. You see in the NLT, they don't even have a put that up for verse 14. Right? Now from here, let's grab what I want. Going back to this guy, Gino, right? Talking about he want to tell people why it's good to, or not good, but why it's okay to eat swine. All right, this is Galatians chapter 2. And yeah, let's do 7, right? And the reason I'm pulling this is to differentiate, right? Because again, this guy, when you look at the clip in part 1, this guy talk about let me explain to you, tell you why God changed, and why he said it was okay, and where you can eat what you want to do, eat what you want to eat, right? And also what I read in Hebrews, when you get down to like the 9th and the 10th verse in Hebrews the 13th chapter, right, verses 9 and 10, where it speaks on offerings and meat, and the altar and all of that. Remember this. All right, this is Galatians 2 and 7. But contrariwise, when ye saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, right, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter. Okay? So, for he that wrought effectually in Peter to the apostleship of the circumcision, the same was mighty in me toward the Gentiles. All right. So when you get the understanding of this, The reason I brought this out is because, listen, if you follow us, okay, and you are privy to our doctrine and our teachings, you understand that the circumcision, as spoken here, was Peter, right? So Peter was sent to those who are what? Who were keeping the laws, right? So he was sent to the scribes and the Pharisees and the Jews that were actually keeping the law, the law, statutes, and commandments. They were keeping the customs and ordinances of our power, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right. But what? But Paul was sent unto the uncircumcision, the uncircumcised in the flesh. Okay. But also in spirit. The uncircumcision was, as it says right here in verse 7, but contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of circumcision was unto Peter. Okay. Now, who are the Gentiles? The Gentiles are the Israelites. Okay. I'm not going to pull a bunch of scripts because I don't want to, that's another lesson. But the Gentiles are Israelites, okay, who were not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. They weren't living as Israelites. They were living as Greeks. All right. That's why it says there was neither Jew nor Greek or, bond or free and all of that. Okay. But because under what? When you go into, and this is the importance of the history, man, because when you go into the Apocrypha, right, it gives you, it explains the Hellenization of our people. Okay. Our people were Hellenized, man, meaning made to be Grecians forcibly under the Greek occupation. All right. After Alexander the Greek died, right, you had his 4 generals who had split up the kingdom. All right. Then you had those generals basically came into our land, made us subject to payments. Okay, when you go into like the Seleucid, and what's this other guy? It was 4 of them. You had the Seleucid, Lysimaeus, Cassander, and there's one more I can't think of right now. Surnamed Epiphanes, Antiochus, right? Epiphanes, right? Antiochus. These guys were wicked, man. I think Antiochus came out. Anyhow, when you go into the Apocrypha, it gives you the history of all of that, man. All right, how we had wars with these devils, with the Grecians. They went in and defiled our temple. All right, they was killing our elders. Okay, slaughtering pigs on the altar inside the temple, man. This is where the holiday of Hanukkah, right, comes into a play because we rededicated the temple, right? After we were able to move them out of there, we rededicated the temple through that's like the Maccabees. So when you go into the Maccabees, first and second Maccabees, it chronicles all of that, where they made it unlawful for us to circumcise our children. They would these Grecian soldiers would literally run through the streets, and if they saw they would be checking the man child of the women. And if he was circumcised, you could lose your child and your own life. So these things are history that's very important, but it's the foundation of our understanding, which is why they removed the apocrypha from the scriptures in the first place, man. But once you get that understanding, you understand why the scriptures read the way they do. All right, that's why it reads neither Jew nor Greek. Okay, because majority of our people were uh under that vibration, because the Romans took over the kingdom. They took over rulership after the Greeks, after the Grecians, after the Greeks, right? How come it don't say neither Jew nor Roman? How come it don't say neither Jew nor Chinese, or Jew nor Moabite, or Jew nor Hamite, right? It's because those were not the ruling classes of people. You have to understand that. So the Gentiles are explicitly speaking of Israelites who, through the course of time, mainly the northern kingdom, all right, who were made subject, to those payments and were not keeping the laws because of the oppression, man. But this is also like when you go into the book of Acts, when you read about Pentecost, right, or Pentioch, it talks about devout men, Jews out of every nation. So we were scattered abroad, okay? So it talks about from Elam, from coming from Elam, from Shinar, from Egypt, right? All of these different places. Salakia. Point being is, our people, especially the northern tribes, were not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and were thus therefore called Gentiles by the circumcision, or the southern kingdom. So the northern kingdom was looked down upon from the southern kingdom, and the southern kingdom was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, which the southern kingdom is the land of Judea, which is why it says Jew nor Greek, because if they were citizens of the land of Judea, they were considered Jews. All right, that's the difference between Jews and Gentiles. The Jews were Israelites who were citizens of the land of Judea and or members of the tribe of Judah. The Gentiles were the Israelites, the Israelite foreigners from the northern tribes that were scattered abroad. Okay. This is why when I pull Malachi, actually, look, you can go to Malachi, you can go to Jeremiah. It's so many books you can go to in the scriptures where Yahweh is always talking about return unto me, right? Return to me. He's speaking directly to the Israelites. Okay, so that's the point of me grabbing this, so you can understand that the circumcision was the inhabitants of the land of Judea, right? First and foremost, those keeping the customs, along with the scribes and Pharisees and all of that. Okay, then the uncircumcision was the Israelite foreigners, Israelites by blood, but they were scattered abroad. Okay, those are the Gentiles, mainly of the northern tribes. Mainly of the northern tribes. You had some southern kingdom people that was going off too, but it was mainly the northern tribes. All right. That's for edification's sake, so you can understand when the scriptures are talking about going into like let no man judge you by in meat or drink. That is talking about the uncircumcised Israelites, the uncircumcision, the Israelite foreigners who are now privy to who they are returning to their heritage, returning to the law, statutes, and the commandments, okay, of the Heavenly Father, but they coming out of the customs of these other nations. They're coming out of Hinduism and Greek worship, Greek idolatry. They coming out of you know Moabite Chinese religion and all this stuff. Okay, worshiping dragons or whatever they was doing, right? Their whole mysticism and all of that, the Far East mysticism, or even the Hamites, some of those African customs, going into worshiping Egyptian gods and goddesses, trying to tap into the ancestors, right? Speaking of familiar spirits. All these things our people were doing. Were Israelites doing these things. So leaving off from those atrocities, coming back to the Heavenly Father, you just didn't keep the law perfectly. Just much like today. For those of you who have come to the understanding that you are an Israelite, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, coming back because you coming out of being Mexican or so-called black, right? Jamaican, Haitian, American black, the Negro, whatever it is, you coming out of being Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, right? Chilean, Brazilian, Colombian, whatever, whatever it is. All right. And the customs that you were keeping, a lot of you were Catholics. Some of you practiced voodoo and that weird spiritualism shit, that universal whatever. Right? Talking to the universe, trying to manifest things. Astrology. Okay, that's a religion, man. Buddhism, Hinduism, right? Those are idolatrous philosophies, man. So coming out of these things makes you of the uncircumcision. Okay? Which is why Paul's gospel is to us. Okay? This is Colossians 2 and 13. And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh hath he quickened together with him. Who? Yahushua. Having forgiven you all trespasses, right? Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, right? The law, because we wasn't keeping it, which was contrary to us. Okay, and took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. He didn't nail the law to the cross. He nailed the consequences for breaking them. That's what got nailed to the cross. The consequences of our leaving off from the law. That's what he nailed to the cross. Because we just read in Matthew, the 5th chapter, that he establishes it, right? He came to fulfill the law, right? And that we what? Keep the law. So whoever keep the law and teach men so should be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever break the law, leave off from the commandments, and teach men to do so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. That's words in red. Words in red. All right. Verse 14, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us. What was against us? The breaking of, when you commit an offense, there's a judgment against your butt, right? Which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, took your punishment out of the way, nailing it to his cross, and having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. So this is what the understanding means. Verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of any holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Hamashiach. Right? So what that means is, watch this. Let me see. Right? We want to rehearse the righteous acts. Right? Judges 5 and 11. 10. Speak ye that ride on white asses, ye that sit in judgment, and walk by the way, that they are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water. All right, the noise of the archers. That's speaking of the thermonuclear ICBM missiles. All right, because we know that's a future prophecy. Okay, about the lake of fire, which will come from the thermonuclear missiles. Okay, the archers are the silos. In the places of drawing water goes into a place of captivity. Okay, bondage. There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. You see that? There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. All right. So we're rehearsing the righteous acts. We still acknowledge and the Sabbath. We still acknowledge the new moons, okay, which are the beginning of a new month. Okay, we still acknowledge the holy days. Okay, so Passover, which is our New Year, Day of Atonement, first fruits. All right, Tabernacles, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is right after Passover, right? Then we got Hanukkah, Purim, all these things, man. Okay. Uh, um, First fruits also called Feast of Weeks. Okay. So, but those three first fruits or Feast of Weeks, Passover, and Day of Atonement were the three obligatory obligations that we had in the ancient times. Now we acknowledge those things and we try to pay homage to them on this side, returning back to our heritage. But it says here, let no man therefore judge you in meat. So when you take meat for your Passover today, right? You don't know how that lamb was slaughtered. You don't have, first of all, most people can't afford a whole lamb. And if you can't get a whole lamb, you don't know that it's without spot or blemish. Right? It says, or in drink. How about your wine? That's ceremony for some of our holy days, or in respect of any holy day. That's what it's talking about. Okay, and it's talking about because brothers are in captivity. Passover might fall on a Thursday, so called, right? Or Wednesday or whatever, in the middle of the week. And you got to get your ass up and go to work. Now, you ain't supposed to work on Passover. You ain't supposed to work during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. How many of us can take a full week off? More than once out the year. You can take a week off for Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, then another week off for the Feast of Weeks, right? Tabernacle. I know I don't get 2 weeks vacation at my job. I don't get that much time. Right? And let's say they did let you take it unpaid, right? Or let you take those days. Again, when you get the meat, is it was it prepared the correct way? Did you do the ceremonial stuff correctly? Majority of us, the answer to that is no. Your new moon. All right, so you got those 2 weeks in general, and then we got 13 new moons. That's a whole nother 2 weeks. You ain't supposed to work during them days either. You can take them off. Most of us know. Okay, that's the Sabbath. So new moons and the Sabbath. Right? It's 4 Sabbaths a month. Maybe 5. So we at what, 4 times 12, 4 times 13. That's a lot of days. Your job would be done sent you packing, man. You try to take all them days off. Right? But this is why it says, let no man judge you for those things. Because as long as we rehearse in the righteous acts, we acknowledge them, we do them to the best of our ability, which is what we teach here. Right? This done ran over too. I just can't shut up today. Salakia. All right. Verse 17, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Hamashiach. All right. I'm going to pull one more because I didn't know I was going this long, and then I'm going to shut it down. This is Romans, the 3rd chapter. I'm going to just go straight to the point. This is verses 30 and 31. Right? I'll do 29 because I gave y'all the understanding of the Gentiles. Is he the power of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one God which shall justify the circumcision by faith, that's the Jews, and the uncircumcision through faith, that's the Gentiles, right? Do we then make void the law through faith? La, God forbid. Yea, we establish the law, right? And that's what we teach. You keep the law to the best of your ability. And where you lacking, that is where the blood of Yahweh Shai covers you. Okay? That's where the blood of Yahweh Shai covers you, where you're lacking. But it's not you just being wicked, doing whatever the hell you want to do and thinking you get a pass, right? Matter of fact, one more. Salakia, one more. This is Hebrews, the 10th chapter, and the 26th verse. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. All right? And that's the point. So you can't do what this Geno Jennings guy talking about, man. Just do whatever the hell you want to do and then think shit finna be sweet. Yahweh don't get down like that. All right? Anyway, I didn't mean to run these videos this long. You know, hey, it's the spirit though. I pray this lesson finds you well, and I pray that it was edifying. Until next time, Shalom. Wa Abad Babal.